What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hello and welcome to Throwback Thursday. This is a series on my channel that I started as a way to get some use out of the older eyeshadow palettes in my collection. So the way this works is every Sunday I post a bonus video here on my channel. It's just the footage of me going through my entire collection and pulling 4 palettes for y'all to choose from. From there, I post a poll over my community section with the names and pictures of each of the palettes. I give y'all a few days to vote, and that brings us to here. This week was fun to watch. I sat and watched those poll numbers go back and forth for the longest time, and it started out as a tie, and I thought, oh no, here we go again, because the first time I had y'all vote, we had a tie. I ended up doing a look with each of the palettes, but then all of a sudden, like, Heather Austin pulled ahead, and then it would back down to a tie, and then Druid pulled ahead, and then it would back down, and then ultimately Druid won. So we are creating a look with the Druid palette from Fantasy Cosmetica, and I love this palette. I love the color story in here. It is very fall, very green. I love the 2 pops of like warm tone browns in here, and the shimmers in this palette are so insanely beautiful. So let's go ahead and zoom in, prime my eyes, and get started creating our look. Alright, so I went ahead and primed my eyes with my eyeshadow base, and we are ready to go. So let's go ahead and start creating this look. So I think I'm going to go ahead and start out with this shade right here. I do want to do something with the greens. I know that's typical, but they're just so beautiful in this palette. But I am going to incorporate either one or both of these 2 shades as well. But we're going to go ahead and start, like I said, with this shade right here. This one is called Sage. So I am going to pick that up with this Wicked Widow, the Crow brush. It's just a big fluffy brush. I need to wash my brushes, so I'm kind of down to like my backup brushes, but they're still good brushes. So I'm going to go ahead and start by pressing this into my crease, and then once I have the shade where I want it, I'm going to go back and kind of fluff it out, soften it, kind of disperse the shadow a little bit more and make it to where it's not so harsh. But look at that color. Oh, I love that color. It's like a nasty pukey pea green, and it's absolutely beautiful. Now, this is the first palette that Fantasy Cosmetica ever launched. This was like their premiere palette, have you? And this is beautiful, but I did not get this palette when it first launched. I was a little weary. I was kind of like, no, it's a new brand. I don't want to try a new brand. I wasn't like doing content or anything like that. I was buying for me, and I skipped out on it, but I kept an eye on the brand. But my first palette from Fantasy Cosmetica was actually the Rogue palette, and that was the one that came out last year. I think it was their first launch of last year, and I love that palette. I still love that palette. It's probably my #1 palette, if not my top 3. I need to do a Fantasy Cosmetica ranking. I have it in my list of things to do. It is coming, but I love the color story in that one. And that one is actually the only palette that I have with like the original artwork. The rest of them have more of like this less stained glass look to them, and that one has the original artwork before they went and revamped it all. But I do really enjoy that one. But this palette, what's the other one? Bard and Sorcerer, I bought last year around Black Friday. They had them deeply discounted, and I had my eyes on them. I had been buying the other ones from the brand as they were releasing, and so I finally decided to go ahead and just do it, and I bought them, and I haven't looked back since. I love those palettes so much. Okay, so next I want to go into this green shade up here. This one is called Forest, and I am going to pick that up with my BK Beauty 206 brush, and I'm going to put this into my outer corner, and I'm going to kind of blend it into that first shade that I put down, just giving a little bit of depth out here. But I am really excited that this palette won. I kind of was like rooting for this one a little bit. As much as I love the Heather Austin one, I love this palette, and it just gives me so many fall vibes. The greens in here are beautiful. I love the shimmers in this palette, but I will say the matte formula and the shimmers from Fantasy Cosmetica, I said that really strange. They just get better and better with every single launch, and they're very consistent too. But I just love the theming behind the brand. I love fantasy. I love it to read it. I love it to watch it. I've just always been a big fan of it, and so they kind of suckered me in with the fact that everything is based around characters and world building and fantasy and all of that. But look at that. Oh, so pretty. So for the lower lash line, I want to go into like this warm, reddy brown down here. This one is called Old Growth. I'm going to pick that up with a Singe Beauty EO4 brush, and I am just going to kind of press it along my lower lash line. I kind of want to tight line a little bit. I don't want to disperse it too much. I really want to have like the full impact of this shade on my lower lash line. And then I think I'm going to go back with that other one and kind of blend it out and soften it just a little bit. But like I was saying, I love the theming behind this brand. And what I love now is that they have kind of gone from characters that you would find, and they're moving into other aspects of world building. Like we had the Cradled in Ice palette, which had the dragon on the front, and now we've got Enchanted Autumn. And it just, I'm always so excited to see what they're going to do next. Not just the color story and the theme, but now we're getting bigger color stories, and the brand is just really expanding, and I just think it's so much fun. Ooh, I love that color. Okay, next, like I said, we're gonna go into this other matte shade up here. This is more of like a true brown, and it's called Root. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick that one up with, I just need a good fluffy brush for this. So we're gonna go in with a Singe Beauty EO6, and I am very, very lightly just going to fluff that along the lower lash line. So I'm not gonna press it down here like I did with the shade before. I am just going in really, really like willy-nilly basically. All right, so I do want to soften up that lower lash line just a little bit. So what I'm actually going to do is take my setting powder. You can use any setting powder you want if you want to do this. I used the one from Charlotte Tilbury today, and I'm going to go in with that same brush, and I am just going to kind of go like right along the edge and just kind of soften it up a little bit so it's not quite as harsh. I like to do this whenever I have a palette that has a lot of shades that are kind of too deep for my skin, and I don't really have like a lighter tone to blend things out. This is a really good technique for it, no matter what your skin tone is. All right, so I went ahead and primed my lid with my NYX glitter primer per usual, so we can go ahead and pop some of these sparkle shades on the lid. So I don't know what I want to do because all of these in here are so insanely beautiful. This is the one you can tell I've obviously gone into the most. It has this most beautiful shift to it, like this green to this purple. It is so stunning, but I'm kind of thinking I want to go in with like this brighter yellow green shade right here and maybe do this one on the inner corner. This one is beautiful too though, but it has a little bit more of like a pinky base to it, and I just don't think that one's gonna go with this look as good. So decisions are so hard, but we're gonna do it. We're gonna go in with this shade right here. So this one is called Serenity. I'm gonna go ahead and pick this one up with my finger. Oh, it's so pretty. And I'm gonna put this all over my lid, and I'm even gonna bring it over to the inner corner, but I am gonna leave the inner corner open for that other shade. But just look at how beautiful and reflective that shade is. I love it. I might need to go back with another one so I can kind of blend everything out here a little bit more, but I'm loving that being the focal point. I cannot speak today, y'all. It has been a very long week, but it is only Wednesday for me, Thursday for y'all. Okay, so I am going to go in with a little bit of this shade right here. This one is called Transformation. This is such a beautiful shade. Like, it's this really pretty like brown, purple, green shifty shade. I feel like it's a typical multi-chrome that you see a lot, but it's still absolutely beautiful. I'm going to pick that up, and I'm just going to very lightly kind of tap that right where that matte and that shimmer shade meet right here on my outer corner, and then we'll pop into the inner corner. All right, so for the inner corner, we're gonna go into this beautiful multi-chrome shade up here called Balance. I'm gonna pick this up with a Morphe M213 brush. It's just this teeny tiny little brush. It works really good for the inner corner, especially when my Singe Beauty EO1 is dirty. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pick that up. I'm gonna spray it with a little bit of Matte Fix Plus. This does have a little bit more of that putty-like texture, so you're not gonna get a lot of fallout with it regardless, but I always spray my shimmers from my inner corner just because I feel like it gives that little bit of extra insurance. But oh, that is such a beautiful shade. I love it. It looks beautiful all over the lid too. You can really see all those shifts, but I feel like that's a typical look that you do with this palette. All right, y'all, so this is going to be our final look, and I think it turned out absolutely beautiful. I love the greens in this palette. They perform so good. Fantasy Cosmetica has a really good matte formula, and it has just gotten even better the more and more that they release palettes, but their shimmers have always been on point. They are always very shifty, sparkly, smooth, and just so beautiful on the eye. I am going to turn the lights down so that y'all can see the shifts, the sparkle, and the shimmer. I know I haven't been doing that with these videos, but I'm going to try my hardest to remember to do so moving forward. But before I do that, let me show you what I used to finish up this look. So in my lower waterline, I went in with a Charlotte Tilbury eyeliner in the shade Walk of No Shame. I lined my lid with, where did I put it? Here it is, my ZC liquid liner, and then I finished it off with my Charmacy volumizing mascara. Alright, y'all, so that is going to complete this week's Throwback Thursday video. Let me know all of your thoughts down below. Which palette did you vote for? Do you have this one? If you did it inspire you to pull it out and play with it? I want to know it all. Let's have that conversation. Light up that comment section, and as usual, I want to thank you all so much for watching my video and spending your time with me. It truly does mean so much to me. And if you like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up before you leave. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click on that notification bell so that you can be notified of all my future posts here on my channel. I do post quite a few videos every single week, and I wouldn't want you to miss one. But until my next video, have a good one. Bye.